Silly Polly Beast was made by just one guy, and it's a fantastic top-down shooter thriller. Please go play it. Yes, that's the best intro I could come up with. Leave me alone. Polly X Beast isn't a game I expected to like so much. A narrative-focused top-down shooter with horror segments, slick punk rock aesthetics, introspective moments, a blonde demon girl, and skateboarding? Maybe I did fully expect to love this game. All of that is sick. It's a game that harkens back to the Xbox Live Arcade era of gaming, where you get a complete experience with lots of love, personality, and genuine passion put into the craft of game making. Which also means it's a bit rough around the edges, but its charm outweighs the glitches, don't worry. Think like Alien Hominid, Bionic Commando Rearmed, Portal, Shadow Complex, ambitious indie games that tiptoed the line between indie and AA development and were created to be very cohesive, complete packages that were about 8 to 10 hours in length or so. That is exactly what Silly Polly Beast is. And this is the second video in a row I'm bringing up Shadow Complex. What is going on with me lately? I need to... I need to talk to somebody about this. The premise is a simple one. Polly Pocket is running away from the abusive orphanage she grew up in, and she wants to reunite with her sister. But before she can get very far, she undertales herself down a well and ends up in hell. It's not literally hell, more of a figurative, metaphorical, up to interpretation thing, but you know what I mean. You can picture what the game's going for. She fights drunkards, bugs, dogs, demons with animal masks, blowy-uppy guys, and mosquitoes, as she's tasked to hunt down the 3 strongest demons in order to escape the nightmare she's found herself in. The game includes sneaking, shooting, skating, silent hilling, childhood trauma, moral dilemmas that actually have gameplay consequences. Yes, we love that. P90s, animal masks, player customization and cosmetics, moments of visual surrealism, and John Wicking your way through a demon rave. You can be the mosquito, you can be bees. The game's got a lot happening, and it's not afraid to add new concepts and ideas constantly and consistently. A very tried and true, as soon as you understand and utilize one mechanic, we add a new one to keep it fresh game design philosophy. Themes of parental abuse, siblinghood, self-discovery, and rebellion are the key players of the narrative and game world. Every chapter features some sort of power dynamic between characters, some sort of oppression happening to someone or something, and the gameplay is constantly reinforcing these ideas. First boss is a drunk man harassing Polly. We see how she was abused in the orphanage flashbacks. The big enemies have an ability to chain themselves to you, restricting your movement, meaning they are literally an oppressive figure in Polly's autonomy while also restricting the player's autonomy, linking the player and Polly together. I love game design! Of course, there's other examples that are much bigger, but I don't want to say too much. This video is a spoiler-free review, analysis, essay thing. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, sign up for my Patreon, doesn't exist. Blah, 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 blah. You know the drill, you know the drill. My point is that the gameplay variety and visual storytelling is very strong here. While the plot and diction itself is more on the simplistic side, the emotions, themes, aesthetics, and gameplay surrounding that plot is very good. The menu is her cell phone, and you can see her blink just like in Metroid Prime. Come on, that's so good, man. And I think that is what is instantly noticeable about Polycule Mr. Beast. It's the aesthetics of the game combined with how it uses cinematography. There's frequent moments where the camera will hold position and we take a pause as the game wants us to just soak in the scene and really think about what we're seeing and what's happening in the game. The camera already constantly shifts from top down to 2D to 3D in gameplay, so to have that constantly shifting camera angles be completely and utterly halted, to just slow down to absorb, well, everything, it's something deliberate and special. This happens at the start of every chapter as a title drop. It happens semi-frequently during important story moments. There's literally an achievement for stopping the game to read the book It for a little while, and that is just, I don't know what that means at all, but God, it's so cool. Maybe Stephen King's Dancing Clown magnum opus is meant to be some sort of allegory running parallel to Polly's story of a coming-of-age kid learning self-actualization after confronting the malice and absurdity of life head-on, or something like that. I don't know why this book is in the game. I have no idea what's up with that, but it's such a specific moment the game's creator wants the players to linger on and think about, and that has so much personality put into the game. It's just great stuff, man. We get imagery like this of Polly entering the bathroom with the wing graffiti. You can see little ghosts coming out of the burning barrels that give you ammo. If you stop moving when you first meet the imp twins, Polly will start dancing. Each item has a description of her own thoughts. You'll encounter scenes like this with the Matryoshka dolls, or when you go across the river in the boat, or even just when you walk to your friend's house. There's such a rich display of camera work going on. The game completely passes the vibe check. Combine all that with the punk rock attitude of the game world, Polybert's own attitude, and the soundtrack that hops between doom-esque rock slasher tracks and surreal ethereal chords. This is like the most Suda51 game to ever Suda51 not made by Suda51. If you take Shadows of the Damned, Lollipop Chainsaw, and Travis Strikes Back, put it into a blender, remove all the sex jokes, you've got something pretty close to what this game is doing. And that's a massive compliment. Suda51's one of my favorite directors. At least I hope it's a compliment. If you're working on an indie game and you're a creator and someone walks up and goes, hey man, you're like my favorite director, I love it. Is that like, I would like that. Like, creator of Silly Polly Beast, if you see this video, I love your game, man. Like, I like Suda51 too. The game even has the Shadows of the Damned Ghost Bullet Revolver Reload. It's like the same.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, Shawik! Now that is a big boner.
Hey guys, I'd like to formally apologize for including that joke and for making you see that. I love that game. I adore it.
Hard men like us don't mix.
Wait. Is that a comma?
But it's a product of its time, you know? I get really excited about aggressively 2010 Xbox 360 third-person shooters, and that is the most 2010 thing to exist, I feel like. So, speaking of shooting, what surprised me about Snilly Snolly Sneezed's combat is the level of variety there is in approaching situations. In terms of player expression, on a scale of I made a game with zombies in it to Dishonored, I'd say it's somewhere in the middle. But the game more than enough provides choices and expressions on how you want to fight. 4 different guns that all feel distinctive from each other, a skateboard melee weapon, rituals to activate which serve as special moves, environmental hazards like razor blades and explosive barrels, stealth to avoid combat, tree stumps that eat demon larvae that randomly kill an enemy but they also serve as grenades for some reason. We're in hell or limbo or whatever, it's fine, we can be a little weird, we can be a little quirky. While Mr. Yeast isn't a game that accommodates massively different playstyles, its gameplay loop does offer a series of micro decisions for the player in each combat encounter. Do you stealth past enemies to save ammo? Maybe sneak to the back, shove your demon baby grenade into the tree stump for a chance to kill the harder enemies? Maybe bait the bad guys into a ritual circle or a razor blade? Maybe just gun everyone down and don't give it much thought. There is more than enough at play to make each encounter engaging and stand out from the previous encounters. Not to mention the enemy variety. Small dudes, big dudes, riot shield dudes, generator dudes, spider dudes, dog dudes, bug dudes, exploding dudes, chain dudes, giant teenage girl dudes. The different ways to interact in combat are supplemented by the different things you have to fight. There's gotta be around like 20 or so different enemy types, and remember this is an 8-hour game where combat is only a third of the runtime. It's jam-packed with ideas and always throwing something new at you. Even something as simple as the body dragging mechanic is remixed and shifted in ways you wouldn't expect. Hey Jacob, Kai Cenat is drowning. Shut up, this isn't about him. The standard enemy soldier has a hierarchy of difficulty. Frog soldiers being the weakest, which jumps to rabbit to pig to wolf being the strongest. All of which have their own unique abilities and subtypes as well. You kill enough of each mask type and you unlock the masks to use for customization with your hoodie. Different masks, different jackets, different designs for the skate decks, face customization options, etc, etc. Hollywood's appearance changes as the story progresses and the player has the freedom to customize those changes as they see fit. And some of those appearance changes are affected by gameplay as well, which is mwah, we love that. We love that so much. I won't elaborate because no spoilers, of course, but mwah, we love that.
Kissed with coral blue #2 semi-gloss lipstick.
Actually, it's coral blue #2.
The caveat to the plethora of gameplay ideas thrown at you is that nothing in the game is refined as it could be. The shooting in Melee sometimes feels finicky in terms of landing your hits or not. It's visually difficult to tell when enemies' special attacks begin, what they even do, and how to avoid them. Some attacks seem to one-shot you, while others you think would do a lot of damage don't actually hurt that bad. And while the plot of the story is tight and engaging with multiple twists and turns, it feels like some members of the supporting cast aren't utilized fully. And while some weapons and upgrades have grandiose moments and story reasons for their unlocking, others are just sitting there on the ground waiting to be picked up. The P90 and the spiky ritual is literally just in a random room and you walk up and just pick up the little icon. But the stake gun requires a monumental amount of effort to obtain, has a story and lore reason, and has lots of build up to when you finally get it. Both the P90 and the stake gun are fun to use, don't get me wrong, but the latter felt a lot better unlocking than the former. Same issue with the rituals, obviously. Sometimes you go through painstaking lengths to unlock something and truly earn that upgrade. Other times it's just sitting there. Just go ahead and pick it up. No biggie, Vault 13 Canteen Poly Queen, you've earned it. We can have a little P90 as a treat. It's a bit weird to see a game so focused on the small moments and attention to detail turn into a more arcadey style, just pick up the floating weapon upgrade little bro mentality at random. You'd figure that attention to detail would consistently be throughout the entire experience, which it is narratively speaking, but in certain gameplay elements, its arcadey roots do stand out a bit more compared to how the story is laid out. It is hard to always have a narrative and thematic reason for every little gameplay activity, so I get it. Sometimes going, yeah, fuck it, this is fine for the player, is understandable, especially considering the game is a solo dev affair. Small asterisk, of course game dev is a team sport, and of course there was some assistance from other people and I believe some asset use with this game, but when the game is spearheaded, conceptually created, and primarily worked on by a solo individual, I think it's okay to call it a solo dev game. Or a Suda52 game, so to speak. Sorry. There's a moment in chapter 4 where the game has a puddle of water on the ground, and when you run over it, you trip and fall, forcing the player to always walk over that puddle of water. This teaches the player to slow down and think carefully about their movements while in this chapter. Later on in the same chapter, there's bear traps placed around the level, so the player wants to cautiously walk and not run so they don't get bear trapped. That is a 5,000 IQ fantastic tutorialization and in-universe reasoning to teach the player to just be careful. And it's just a bit odd that not all game mechanics in the game have that much thought and narrative backing behind them. The tripping water puddle may be something simple, but I think it's indicative of one of my favorite elements of the game as a whole. The moments of real, raw reality. Between the stylized world and shadow monsters are moments of genuine, unfortunately very human elements of horror. The first conflict of the game is Polly, a teenage girl, a kid, being hit on and harassed by a middle-aged drunk man. After Polly gets the keychain she made taken away, there's an allusion to her either going to go stab someone with a box cutter knife or to cut herself out of frustration. The orphanage is revealed to have seedy and morally unethical funding. The way you get rid of the meat piles in chapter 4 is a twisted and visually grotesque metaphor that I really don't want to spoil, but it's very good, just go play the game. And there's visual themes of Polly's morality being up for questioning throughout the game, usually symbolized through imagery of angel wings and devil horns. My critique that the game still has some inconsistencies on how well these ideas are presented still applies here, since all the examples I gave have varying degrees of success and execution, narratively speaking. But the fact these aspects of the game exists at all, the fact that there's so many touches of reality and hardship and it's not outright stated, but rather shown through metaphor and up to player interpretation, that's something incredible, artful, and truly demonstrates the love that went into making the game and the human behind it. And I think that, at its core, is what Philly Folly Feast is. Not so much a game at odds with itself, but more so a game that blends the arcade philosophy of the past with the modern day sensibilities of narrative reasoning, all tied to a cohesive vision from a single creator. It doesn't have the best story or the best shooting or the most polish or the best audio or the best puzzles or best minigames. Okay, I know this sounds bad, but all of it is good. All of it. Every aspect. And when every single element of a game is pretty dang good, I think that elevates the game as a whole to being pretty dang great. Every area of the game feels good, has creative ideas behind it, fits within the game world, and keeps things fresh mechanically. Even if not every moment is in sync or is something awe-inspiring as I think it could be, the game's still pretty dang rad. Silly Polly Beast is truly a sum of its parts situation, where in a vacuum, the individual aspects of the game aren't something remarkable, but when you add up every element of the game, its striking camera angles and aesthetics, its flexible combat, mood-fitting soundtrack and sound effects, and introspective story, all adds up to being one of my favorite games of the year.
Now that is a big bonus.